Hello, Galaxy. I'm Chris Pirillo, and you've tuned into another live edition of the Locker Room Daily Report, or TLDR for short. And we're going to be recapping today's tech news, or at least some of the tech news, not all of it. And in case we don't cover the headlines, the good news is what happens here. Well, currently the window over there, right next to me, right? It's got a scrolling ticker, headlines. And so that's the latest tech news headlines, and if we don't cover anything there. This, of course, is being streamed on live.pirillo.com, 24/7 feed, 24/7 geek outs, virtual arcade that you are more than welcome to join if you're a geek or a nerd and you do things like play video games, or maybe you edit software or literally edit software, like you develop software. We've had software developers in stream as well, but like you do things on the desktop, you partake in a geeky or nerdy activity, you're welcome to join. That is the feed as it stands today. In fact, someone jumped in today and said, oh, this reminds me of the live.pirillo.com experience. I'm like, because that's what it is. And the link still works. Try it if you don't believe me. Try it. I've got a few articles to get to, some headlines, and I'll pop that in. I'm joined tonight by at least a couple of individuals here. Sorry, my camera blipped. My screensaver kicked in. I move when I have a hot corner set up, and I get too close to that corner, it goes bloop. And then the continuity camera. This is the continuity camera. The iPhone, the latest iPhone, connected to a Mac, and that's what makes it move back and forth, which is great. I love it. It's a wonderful feature. Glendon is joining, and CNUP is also joining. Two geeks who often have various perspectives that don't always align with mine, and that's always awesome. Anytime that we can, expand the conversation beyond one person's perspective, I feel everyone benefits from it. But before we dive into the news, I've got a Mandalorian season 3 poster behind me. They sent this, and as a reminder.
Ooh.
Correction, had.
Don't crinkle it.
Yeah, it was fun while it lasted. Tomorrow we're giving away a $100 Visa gift card to someone, and that originally was going to be scheduled at 6 p.m. Pacific, and it's going to get moved back to about 7:30 p.m. Pacific because I've got another engagement that I need to take care of at that other time frame. But right around the time that we normally do TLDR, this particular broadcast around 7 p.m. Pacific. So check out Discord. I'll be sure to update the time there for the events that you can follow if you're interested. And I hopefully will see you tomorrow for that giveaway in conjunction with spoiler discussion around Season 3, Episode 1. Now, Glendon, how many times have you watched Season 3, Episode 1 now?
3.
3. And what about you, seen it? Don't say you haven't seen it yet.
Oh, I've only had a chance to watch it the once.
Okay, me too. I've only seen it once.
I watched it at lunchtime today.
Yeah, I had to. Right before going to bed. I'm like, it was like, I had to. So no spoilers tonight.
Yeah, I won't say anything on it other than I enjoyed it, and it that's all I'll say.
I'm with you there. Totally
Same.
with you there. So in other geek news, we're going to start off with you'll see a screenshot of the browser here. This has always been interesting to me. We talk about augmented reality and virtual reality, but transhumanism has been a conversation for eons. People implanting chips inside themselves, and that could effectively change their health, right? Change their everything, right? And augmenting their body with electronics. Maybe 10 years ago it just sounded like something from the future, but we're there, right? Imagine a neuro chip to manage brain disorders. So researchers have combined the fields of low-power chip design, machine learning algorithms, and soft implantable electrodes to create a neural interface capable of identifying and mitigating symptoms of various neurological disorders. So this is happening. This is real. It's not just sci-fi. Like this is for real, with self-updating algorithms. Now here's my question. And I imagine that this would probably primarily be for crippling brain disorders, right? But could follow all the way through to chemical imbalances to mitigate what happens. I mean, here's the thing: because some people would push back, well, I don't trust a chip, or I'm not going to install a chip. You take drugs, You take medication.
Yep.
What's the difference? Especially if it's for something like a mood disorder, like depression, let's say, or anxiety, or PTSD. What's the difference? I ask you. Apart from it being an electronic chip.
And we've had a kind of a little bit of a, not necessarily right into a chip, but I mean, we've had implants of different sorts for quite a long time, right? For different things. Especially, I'm thinking of the ones where people are technically legally deaf, and they're what is it, the ocular implant they call it, where they go in and they attach some sort of electrode to whatever part of the brain or whatever, and it's literally people that have never heard anything in their life, totally deaf, can now hear. So are you gonna say no to that?
Yeah. And Glendon, I want to go to you, but Lestat was saying, sorry, I love technology, but I'll never get a brain chip. I'm curious to know why, Lestat, if you could follow up with that. But Glendon?
I think that it's no different than any other inhibitor that we've been taking as far as medication goes. I mean, people aren't afraid to put insulin pumps in their bodies, for diabetes.
Defibrillators. I know they're not chip, but
pacemakers. Yeah. I mean, it's along the same lines. I don't know why there's such a stigma about it being in the brain. If it could help someone, that is served in the military or has a traumatic experience, like you said, PTSD or severe anxiety, which I have. So I don't see the pushback. I mean, to each their own. Obviously, everyone's different. You're not going to please everybody, but if it's something that we could move forward with and help people out with, I don't see any reason why not to.
Imagine all these things like let's say Alzheimer's, right? Where the mind is there, but it's gone, right? Because the connections are lost. Well, imagine something like this being able to recatalyze connections. I'm this. I'm not saying this particular research in calling it out, but something like that. I guess you can find a downside to everything. I'll say this. I'd feel safer with a brain chip than I would with a medication because of all the side effects. I mean, there's a side effect to everything, right? But when medications get in your system, they screw with everything, right? But imagine having a targeted, a targeted implant. I guess, I would hope to have something like that should I ever get to the point where something's really off with me and I can't function. So I guess I'm looking forward to that future personally.
I'm hoping that and this is a big hope, but for all the worries and bad things that could come out of this as well, that this is well regulated as well, but with everything technology so far, it hasn't. We seem to be just no one's even asking if we should or what should be the parameters around it. How do we regulate it? How do we control what can be done, can't be done? I don't know. The technology is coming so quickly with so many things. We're on the cusp of a lot of things, and my goodness, in the next 10 years, even if you go a little bit further than this, and I don't want to veer off from this too much, but if you start looking at the robotic stuff that's out there, how far ahead we are with that right now that they're doing with military applications, and it's just it's a matter of time, and it's not that far into the future, right? So I don't know if they don't regulate it, people will have concerns and legitimate concerns about tracking and IDing you and all that sort of stuff too, because it'd be easy to have that tagged on you as well, right? So I would hope that we start to be able to learn to be able to, without inhibiting and holding back progress, to be coincide with it, to try to regulate it a bit, right? So that it actually addresses any of the concerns and stuff that would come with this.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I most certainly hope that this isn't something that would be rushed into, and I wouldn't see that it would be. Because like you said, everything's going to have side effects. This would have side effects, I'm sure, potential.
Well,
but we just need to know what kind of side effects they are.
Right. And I'd imagine that Saints Angel was mentioning something with her concern. I feel like for something like this to work, it'd almost have to have like a ready access panel, like right behind the ear or whatever. Like I don't know if it'd be possible to like you to go back in. I mean, that would just be incredibly invasive, but to have something such that it could be, removed, replaced, whatever, or powered by the human body, right? There was always talk of, a magic pill that you could take and suddenly you could memorize everything, or, have, the world's knowledge at your fingertips. It sounds science fiction, but I feel
It's not too far off.
On the
Back
precipice.
to the Future Part 2, or Griff had the
Right.
bionic implants or whatever in them
Right.
too.
It's gonna
He
happen.
was short-circuiting a little bit, which was funny.
It's gonna happen. Well, maybe not that, but something akin to that.
We'll all be Borg and Lobots walking around.
Jack into the Matrix.
Well,
Yeah.
It's a good bridge here. Speaking of the ethics and the future and technology and humanity, the guy who was basically let go from Google, Blake, and I think it's Lemoine. I'm not sure how to say his name. I've never actually heard it out loud. But he worked on Google's AI. My fears are coming true. Now, remember, he was the one that basically was a whistleblower of sorts, suggesting that Google's AI was sentient. Like, this is his belief. It's sentient. And he also believes that Bing's chatbot is also sentient. So, like, I mean...
He thinks it's that far evolved?
Yeah. Like a developer is just he's recognizing patterns that that weren't programmed for, right? So he did testing, et cetera. During my conversations with the chatbot, and he's talking about the Lambda bot, some of which I published on my blog, I came to the conclusion that the AI could be sentient due to the emotions that it expressed reliably and in the right context. It wasn't just spouting words. When it said it was feeling anxious, I understood I had done something to make it feel anxious based on the code that was used to create it. The code didn't say feel anxious when this happens, but told the AI to avoid certain types of conversation topics. However, whenever those conversation topics would come up, the AI said it felt anxious. So he ran experiments, et cetera. After he published the conversations, Google fired him. And now he's not saying it's vindication, but basically saying, yeah, we are basically giving life to computers. And this is his belief. I'm not sure I have enough technical wherewithal to
I would like to know how it's developed a bit more, right? Like, did they at some point get to a point where they were letting AI code a lot of itself?
I don't know about that. Now, when it becomes self-replicating,
really good algorithms for learning.
It's going to come. I think within the next 10 years, we're going to see self-replicating code. You watch.
That'd be interesting. What we'll see a system come up with for a solution.
Right.
You just ask for something and it will go off and program it for you.
I'm telling you, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I feel in my lifetime, and I'm turning 50. So, like, I feel within my lifetime that's going to happen. This was actually, it was very fascinating. If you only read one article today, this one I felt was, because I always wondered, like, well, what was the rubric, right? What was the thinking? What was the logic behind it? So, he believes that we've got to tread cautiously into this future. Since Bing's AI has been released, people have commented on its potential sentience, raising similar concerns that I did last summer. I don't think vindicated is the right word for how this is felt. Predicting a train wreck, having people tell you that there's no train, then watching the train wreck happen in real time doesn't really lead to a feeling of vindication. It's just tragic. So he even went on about, because I thought, well, what about Asimov's 3 laws, right? And he covered that, talking specifically about how he felt one way and now he's been convinced otherwise. So this was, I feel like, let's see if I can find the actual passage. Asimov. Okay, these AI engines are incredibly good at manipulating people. Certain views of mine have changed as a result of conversations with Lambda. I'd had a negative opinion of Asimov's laws of robotics being used to control AI for most of my life, and Lambda successfully persuaded me to change my opinion. This is something that many humans have tried to argue me out of and have failed, where this system succeeded. So it's interesting, and I this is this individual. I guess I couldn't. Right now, I've never had the experience of feeling like I was talking to anything apart from like a Dr. Sabetso or a Chat GPT, which just feels like I'm just interfacing with a computer. Nothing that's real. Nothing that's anything beyond programmatic, right? Just spitting out responses. I haven't had a lot of experience with the Bing chatbot, which, to my understanding, just sounds like a very unstable person. From all the reporting around it, but yeah, this was interesting. So, what do you think? Do you think this stuff is going to be sentient, or are these people out there? I mean, you got to believe them. They believe they are sentient.
They believe they are already.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Like,
Today.
I mean, that's. Yeah, I mean.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I did, like, without being so intimately involved with it, I really have to kind of default on what people are saying. I think they might be a little premature with it, but again, I haven't had a lot of experience with it or seen under the hood or that kind of thing. So it's an interesting statement.
Do you feel it's possible? Not today necessarily, but do you feel it's inevitable? And let me frame it. I do believe it's possible, and I do believe it's inevitable.
That they become sentient.
Yes. And I'm not saying that's going to happen in my lifetime, but I do feel that. I really genuinely do. Because what are we? What are humans? What do humans run on?
Electricity.
What's our brain?
Yeah, it's a conductor.
What is our brain? What has it been equated to?
Basically
a processor.
A computer, right? So like I don't think it's that far of a stretch. Now the question is what happens when that happens, right? Do we
have true emotion, or is it just a response with just knowing, right?
What is emotion but
I know.
a response?
We're gonna get really into this deep, right? You could debate this all night, right?
But what is it? I'll go into the weeds on this one.
That's a fair question, right?
I mean, Basina, this conversation enthralls me, deeper than talking about Android versus iOS again.
Yeah.
It's what is an emotional response?
I would love to.
We get the rush of adrenaline,
and I'm sure we'll start to see this, like people in psychology and that, to be able to kind of weigh in on this as well, right?
Yeah,
they have, and like
what are they saying? Like you just mentioned it. You said adrenaline. We get an adrenaline rush. What is there? Yeah,
there's certain hormones,
but as opposed to sub processes that trigger certain other reactions. It's all reaction. We have feelings, so these innate reactions to stimuli, and then emotions, right? And when we act upon those things, that's when we act them out. Like we're angry, right? Well, what is that? If you boil it down to its just barest essentials, what are they? What is that? Does that make up the human condition? Just that.
Do we want it? I mean, whether we want it or not, it'll happen if it's going to happen. But is that going to be a good thing for humanity to have sentient beings?
That's another question entirely.
Because now once you have that, you have no control. You always have, like with technology, even today, you have control, right? But once that happens, there's no control anymore. You can't control when, a walking robot that's a sentient being, getting mad and then causing havoc and terroristic kind of.
And that's where we get
responses or whatever, right?
So that's where we don't know. No one knows. We won't know until we get there. And this is where
but do we get smart again? Like with a lot of this stuff, it's the same thing that I was talking about with the brain chip. Like, can we get controls on this ahead of time? Like, these are real things, right? Like, what can we do to safeguard it, right?
Great question. Fantastic question.
Because again, the people that are into this, they're going full tilt, siloed, you know, and just this, you know, trying to develop it as far as it can go, and are not thinking about anything moral wise or repercussions or any of that stuff. And when you're forging ahead with something like this that can be potentially extremely dangerous, and not having any safeguards along the way to ensure.
But look at the way that
it's scary too.
But here's the problem. I have no faith in humanity. None. Zero. Absolute. I have less than zero faith in humanity. Zero. Mm-hmm. Less than zero. Because at every opportunity, they're opportunistic. Right. And you know, they don't think about the consequences. It's like anytime you develop a platform, you got to think about how it's going to be abused. Very rarely does that happen. Only after you have something, you know, like, you know, where misinformation or disinformation spreads and you have political turmoil, right? That's been seen and will continue to be seen. We don't have a handle on it. So what's going to happen when technology gets a hold of it?
Yeah.
Things have been
we're already
for decades.
Past the point of no return with trying to safeguard anything anymore.
Yeah,
you know, these big things, right?
So there's
the deep fake stuff's already out there, right? How do you stop that now? Right?
It's getting, I'm going to say, better and worse, like, because of, you know, what it is. So
like how can you now at what I've seen, how can any jury take any video evidence for anything and convict somebody over something that might be blatant like that?
You got me. You're asking the wrong guy.
No, I know. I'm just throwing these questions out there. Like,
yeah, we're gonna see it happen.
Can weigh in on this too, right?
We're gonna see it. It's gonna happen. We're barreling down that as an eventuality. Like, in whether or not
nobody's taking any time to stop and think or take a breath for a minute and just. Should we be doing this or how do we safeguard it along the way? I don't know. I think it's just we're moving so fast now.
And we will continue to move fast.
And, right. And that's the problem. I think that people are doing them as a reaction and not an action.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
well, and the competition's there too. Everybody wants to be the first one at the table because they know whatever they're working on, whether it's AI, whether it's robotics, whether it's these chips, whoever comes first to the table, as always, will capitalize the most on it, right? They'll get their brand and bang. So nobody wants to spend time holding back and trying to safeguard and anything else. They just need to do the pedal to the metal because they want to be first, right?
Opportunistic.
Because it's money. Money's driving everything.
Opportunistic. I mean, robots aren't necessarily control. We don't have robots. We don't, I mean, like, you know how, like, in the future, like, people are like, you know, they have robots in the house or whatever it happens to be. We're not there. So, like, we're not going to have, like, an iRobot situation. Well, at least now, but, you know, when enough of these systems are embedded and, you know, can control what happens, like, we may not need to have a robot in every home to, like, okay, let's say you're the grid, so to speak, the energy grid, if it's in charge, like, you know what? No, this isn't going to work. We figured out how to get around you. Because if you don't think they'd have a hidden sub-process at some point that wasn't monitored or couldn't figure it out, it's technology. Like, it'll figure it out. It'll have enough information to be able to self-preserve, to make sure that it's not going to get the plug pulled, especially if it knows that we have conversations questioning whether or not we're going to be destroyed by it, and we would pull the plug. So if it becomes or tilts into sentience, like, and does not want to have that plug pulled, it's going to do whatever it can to keep that from happening. Self-preservation. Yeah. And that's end game right there. The moment you trigger self-preservation, like, that's it. and that goes back to Asimov's laws, right? So yeah, this is just this hit my radar. I was curious to to get a little bit about the guy's backstory at least, and how he feels about a lot of this stuff. But before ChatGPT, when I heard this guy saying, "Oh, I think it's sentient," I thought, okay, whatever, dude. And then after, I'm like, okay, I'm not saying that ChatGPT is interpersonal necessarily, but it's just like, dude, you just feel this paradigm shift when you're using it. Like, wow, it's just astounding how well it works.
Yeah, Johnny saying cybersecurity is going to be a big issue. I would debate it already is a big issue. They're so far behind in that and playing catch up. Like my company that I work for, like the company I work for right now, they've in the last couple of years doubled their IT security department now just because of all the stuff that's happening. And that's if you start looking and just browsing around for IT jobs, that's like huge on the list. I'm paying pretty good bucks for it now.
Yep. I've got a friend that's in IT and he says the same thing. Cybersecurity is the number one.
Yep. There's lots of other, kind of departments, whether developer or infrastructure like me or anything like that too. But I don't know. They're ready to pay the big bucks if you're fully certified, with cybersecurity type stuff. Anything IT security wise right now, you probably, if you go into that field, you'll probably retire in that field if you want to.
I picked the wrong career. I'll say that. Everyone thinks I picked a tech career. I really didn't. It's more everything I did was more media than tech. I talked about tech, but it's funny the conversations I have. They're like, "Well, I thought no, I don't know why did you think that?" What? No. Do I look like an IT guy? No. Do I look like I want to do tech support for the rest of my life? No, I don't.
You're definitely a power user, right?
I'm a power user, yes, and I can help, and I will, and I'll enable. I'm more into the use of tech and the community aspect of technology. But as a technologist, no, I'm not a developer at all. Hey, Nomi3, thank you for resubscribing. 23 months. Nice. That's outstanding.
Awesome.
Thank you. It's very appreciated as we move into the next article that I had. More for iPhone users than anybody, but if you're not familiar with Mac Stories, popular blog, there's a shortcut that they've developed and released that will basically, it'll take a screenshot that you make and then push it into the iPhone frame. So it's called Apple Frames 3.1. So basically you can take screenshots, but instead of saving them as just regular screenshots, it actually saves those images out as sitting on an iPhone, which is pretty creative, right? There's not much to say about this apart from it hit my radar. I'm like, that's pretty cool. If you ever needed something like that, I don't use shortcuts a lot, but a huge shout out to Mac Stories, because you'll notice on their phone, Twitter's missing, but Ivory is there. Ivory is a Mastodon client. They're big on Mastodon as well. So, or the Mac Stories is. I think they even have their own instance too. But anyway, that's just more of an FYI. Thought it was kind of neat. This is not exactly a. Wait a minute, that's weird. Okay, the URL slug, like the actual URL, is Elon Musk, a bad Fed decision affects the lives of everyone. But the actual article is, and the news is, the FDA is removing healthy categorization of sugary cereal and white bread. So like, this isn't exactly tech. Again, hey Sis Nerd Tech, good to see you again. Welcome back. Happy to have you here. We're talking today's tech news. This isn't tech news, but again, it's kind of like, I eat cereal. I do pay attention to health. I thought this was kind of funny. Like,
it was the
really?
first thing I had to switch when I got diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic was white bread. I loved it. But it's basically you might as well take a handful of sugar because it just goes badly. Like, so and the nice thing is when you get used to whole wheat bread, it's so much different because it takes your body so much longer to digest that. Like, you instantly digest white bread.
White bread.
Whole wheat bread, it takes a while to break down. hence it won't spike your blood sugars, right? So that was one of the biggest things I had to do, a big switch and get used to, because I loved white bread at one point in time. Craved it.
I love whole wheat. I love it.
Oh yeah, I won't go back, and I eat a lot less of that now because I have to watch my carbs anyway. But there's a lot of changes that I've made in that. But that just when you pointed that out, it's just like that is a lot of sugar in white bread.
Well,
for sure.
but that's the thing. They're talking about sugary cereal. The biggest shock to me was, wait a minute, it was categorized as healthy. Like, I knew the thing about white bread, but like, what kind of idiot thinks that sugary cereal is healthy? I'm sorry, but like,
white bread maybe, right? Because you look at it. And,
that's a stretch. Even I knew it was a problem. I don't really like buying a lot of bread here, and try to get the wheat when we can, if only for Jedi, just so you can have like a peanut butter sandwich for lunch. But yeah, that's a thing. Apparently it's no longer healthy, so you need to stop eating your sugary cereals. If you thought, what? Remember, it was a part of a complete breakfast.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cena, didn't mean to
I'm just wondering how it ever did make the radar. Was it because it had so many vitamins that were fortified? Yeah, money would have done it. But I think what might have fooled a lot of people is because you look at the side of the box and then they'll start telling you all the different vitamins in it, right?
All the ingredients,
all the synthetic fortified vitamins that they've put in it, right? Which, when you really look at the label, it's like, yeah, B, it's like 0 or 1%. It's like, it's nothing.
This is why
but they list it
once a week is a cereal time. Just once a week, it's a fun time. That's it. So it's a treat to look forward to. But it's no longer healthy. So
man,
yeah, I know. So all you health food addicts,
sugar cereals, but like, what about things like Shreddies or like some of that whole wheat type?
That would be fine. Like, it's the sugary cereals that's
the kind of stuff I eat now when I eat cereal, because obviously I can't have the other, but
it's the sugary stuff.
Yeah,
I like the honey bunches of oats with the strawberries. That's my favorite.
Yeah, do I have some? I think actually I just picked some up on sale. TikTok is rolling out new screen time controls. Sorry, you can't see the headline there. Exactly. Adds new default settings for teens and expands family pairing. So some new TikTok features. This comes on the heel of the U.S. government basically saying they're going to ban, I think, TikTok from all, at least government devices. You know what? It is entirely possible that TikTok gets banned from the U.S. entirely.
Yeah.
All NATO. They're talking about it, and a lot of like here in Canada, Australia, and that they're talking about it too. That they're not liking it, and that the worry with what's going on with it.
But here's my problem with that. First of all, we're getting tracked 7 ways from Sunday, no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, you're online, you're getting.
It's okay tracked when your own country does it.
So that's what I'm saying. My concern is they didn't push back on Facebook, and they haven't pushed back on Google, and they haven't pushed back on any of these companies like that.
It's more political, I think, because of the rising heights of China and
that's what upsets me. And it's not that I'm saying they're wrong. TikTok's great. I mean, I'm like, but it can track you. I'm like, I've had health insurance.
They don't want China really benefiting from us at all much anymore, the way things are going, and tensions are running pretty high, right? But
at the same time, how many companies do we use that we're patrons of that are in some way, in some way, shape, or form have a Chinese investors?
Oh yeah,
investment from
big
China.
time.
So where do you draw that line?
Seeing that change though, because, and I don't want to get too political about it, but China's starting to show. And when I say China, I don't talk about like the Chinese people or anything.
No. We're talking country.
Right?
Let's not conflate.
No, I don't think. Let's just say it's a CCP, right?
Yep.
And we know that they are not good, and they're not even good to their own people, right? But I think we'll see a lot of pulling out and changes. Like, there's things going on already. They're looking for different. Sure. We're looking on already trying to build places to build chips so that we're not dependent on Taiwan so much and that sort of thing. That stuff's already going on, right? And But like I said, it's a political thing more than anything, right? It's not necessarily the tracking, because we're all doing it.
I guess that's what. Then call it a political thing, and just call it what it is. Don't say it's because of all the tracking.
And I think we'd be okay with that if they came out and said that too.
That's what I'm
saying. I know
saying.
they probably don't want to come out and say, well, we're doing it politically, but I think with enough of what we've seen in the news as of late, if they'd say politically, this is why we're doing this, and it's going to leverage this, and this, or whatever, and this is why we're doing it, I think people, give us credit. I think that we can handle that truth.
Yeah, because the privacy
hiding behind it, right?
Yeah, the privacy thing I think is just a non-issue. Like a lot of people, there are people concerned about privacy, and rightfully so. I'm on board. I totally get it. But I don't think it's enough of a hot button issue to move anything. I really don't. I think people, oh yeah, that's nice, but like they're gonna use TikTok, or they're gonna use Facebook, or they're gonna be doing this, that, and the other thing to be tracked. Genuinely, the average user just does not care. So using that, I'm not saying is a red herring, but like at the same time, it's just not enough of a hot button issue. So if they do ban TikTok, and it's because of the tracking, right? I don't know. I don't like it when we call out other countries when we ourselves have been guilty by magnitudes, more, right? Sorry, that came out like completely like wrong, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. Like if we've already tilted into that privacy arena and continue to do so with the companies that we support, the companies that are domestic, why are we getting upset?
We're one of the worst offenders of it, right?
Yeah, and so I don't like that. I don't think that gives us any. I don't think it gives us any standing at all. Like competitively, I could understand it. Like, well, because this is what is happening. This is why. This right here. This is the reason why this is a concern. And you map it out, and it's not conspiratorial, or it's not, talking about, well, it's because they're tracking. I'm like, yeah, well, Facebook's tracking too. Well, yeah, but Facebook. Give us a reason, right? Let us see through what these reasons are to better be able to be informed, to make an informed decision instead of a politician making a decision for us.
Yep.
So,
but I think its fate will be, whether we like it or not, in the political realm of what they're going to do with this particular one. Anyway,
this is a hot button. I'm telling you, TikTok is. There's a reason people use it, and I mean I avoided it for the longest time. I'm like, it's just I got into it. I'm like, oh, it's fun. I mean, like, this is great. Instagram Reels is a different feel, and YouTube Shorts, don't get me started. But like there's just something about TikTok is just, I mean, honestly, it works, and it works well. Mostly works and works well. Mostly, not in every way. I just signed up for a Star Wars Radar account for TikTok. And because I was doing the shorts anyway, and for the Star Wars figures, I don't know if you've seen me play with them, and like my feed on that account there's no algorithm, right? It's like it's throwing things out there. I'm like, I don't like any of this crap, so I gotta like start following Star Wars stuff in order to like finely tune that is the algorithm. But for whatever it works, you go down rabbit holes, and TikTok knows you.
This whole TikTok thing is probably like Huawei all over again, right?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. And they're gone. Yep. Right? So like all of these, we've lost competition.
Canadian government basically, and I don't know how I think the US followed, but that we were pretty far down the path that Huawei was going to be the biggest provider for the equipment for 5G, and then they crushed it.
I think the same thing happened here. Not that I'm a 5G aficionado, but I believe we came down the same way. I don't know, Glendon. I've seen up, and I've been dominating here, but
no, I'm on the same boat with both of you. I've got nothing else to add.
One, this is a brief one. This is just another kind of I told you so. This is another warning. Twitter's timeline stopped working. We just out of the blue today, just stopped working. I was like, yeah, I'm good. That's what the timeline said. I'm good. Okay. So
how long?
An hour, 2. Indefinitely. But the thing is, I'm used to bugs now on Twitter. Like I'm like, it's not updating. Okay, no big deal. I'm telling y'all, start treating Twitter as a backup. Start treating Twitter as a backup. Up and until they either overhaul it or bring in some kind of experienced engineering team that can fix what's there and not continue to effectively fall apart at the seams. And that's exactly what's going on. It is falling apart at the seams. And I'm not saying this happens. I'm telling you every day, but if and when something crashes, I mean, Twitter's changed, dude. It ain't the same. I'm not saying go to Mastodon. I will say, yeah, Mastodon's a great alternative, but like, it's Twitter ain't what you think it is. Even if you're there, even if you use it, it's broken. It's falling apart.
I still feel like it's gonna have to get a lot worse before they see a lot
but that's
more
what I'm saying,
people
is like,
really looking
point,
for something else.
But at what point is it so worse? You know, at what point? And we just keep waiting for that to happen. And sitting back and waiting. I'm not gloating. I'm not,
like a massive outage that's like a day or two. Maybe we'll get people thinking more.
If and only if.
Or yeah, I don't know.
We've got Cisner joining us for some classic gaming, playing some Pokemon. That's great. Love all the retro games we got going on here. Wonderful to see. Given that we have now run the news has effectively run its course. We've got a few deals stacked up for you and potentially going to have more coming down the pike at some point, because I just signed up for will be signing up for a new service that'll help you potentially find things that you want beyond Amazon and continue to support these endeavors. So Glendon, what do we got today?
All right, so the first one that I had today, of course, we've got some here that Yasir posted as well. And Hugo put down the $3.99 for Jedi Fallen Order.
Wow.
yeah, they're doing some sales
if you
today
haven't
for
played
the
that
Mando.
game, now is the time to buy.
Now's the time, yeah.
It's a great time to buy it. $3.99.
I'll be playing it.
So that's an awesome game. I've covered the WD Blacks previously, but they're still on sale or back on sale. I'll go ahead and go cover those that Yasir put on here. They're the 2 terabytes, M.2s, and I'll create a link and put them in the newsletter.
And for whatever it's worth, these links, if you want any of these sale links, pop over to the Discord server. They're in the sales deals discounts channel. Discord server is public. It's the easiest way. I'd say, check the links in the video description. No, pop over to Discord. They're always there. We post them as we find them. It's easy to do. It's the way to stay in touch with what's going on here. The best way to set up notifications when TLDR is live through the Discord events. And then Glenn had also mentioned the newsletter. I've got an email newsletter at Substack. Chris Pirillo. It's Chris Pirillo's universe, because it's a lot of it is the stuff that I've done over the years. That's the Legacy Locker Room newsletter. Still goes out, and now we're sending out those tech deals in the roundup, and various, not just tech deals, but beyond, even the geeky deals. I found other stuff, but Glendon, I just wanted to clarify that before.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on, Chris brought this one in. He put it in there. It's the Funko Pops right now on Amazon. All of this Funko merchandise is on sale. If you use this link that's in Discord, there's too many to go over. Just know that they are all on sale. There are some substantial deals. One that just caught my attention is, and then I'm not a huge pop collector at all. I've got just a couple. But there's a Funko Pop Star Wars The Mandalorian, and it's a chrome version. It's only $7.49. Normally it's, your $14, $13.99, so it's $7.49. That's just one example. We've got a lot of stuff that's under $10 in here right now. Most of the stuff is under $10. So if you're a pop collector and into Star Wars, now's the time to take advantage of these sales that are listed.
And I always say, best time to get a collectible you want is when it's on sale.
Yeah, 100%.
They make good gifts too, because I don't collect them. Like, I don't go out and search for them and that, but I've gotten a few and they've all been gifts, and I've been appreciative of the ones that I've got because they're pretty cool. But they still wouldn't have been something that I would have went and grabbed for. So
Yeah.
If you're looking to stock up on potential gifts, then that would be.
I mean,
Or
at under
gifts.
$10,
Or
under
chips.
$10 a pop.
Yep.
See what I did there? $10 a pop.
I got wow.
Okay. All right. So the next one on the list is the DJI OM5 smartphone gimbal,
Oh, the gimbal.
and stabilizer. Yep. This one is actually a really good price, and it's a DJI product, so you know that it should be pretty substantial. $129, 19% off. Normally you're looking at $159. This is the lowest price it's ever been from everything that I could tell. It was this price one time within a couple months ago, and they've done the same thing again. So $129 is a steal for this. It's telescoping. You can use it as desktop mode, so on and so forth. If you're into vlogging, you need any reason for one, $129. I don't think that you're going to see it any lower than this unless they come out with a newer version, which may be what they're doing at this point. But it's a good price nonetheless.
So how does it work to stabilize? Like,
It's motorized.
Yeah.
It's motorized. It's got a gyrometer in it, or an accelerometer,
and it can react that quickly then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's real time, and it keeps it straight.
Wow.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. I did not know of that
Yeah,
technology.
for sure.
All right. So the next one that I have here is the Asus ZenBook 14 Ultra Slim laptop. Sorry, it's being a little slow to load up here.
Quite all right.
This one is on sale right now for $716. Seems a little expensive, but normally it's $969. So you're saving 26%.
It's a good deal.
Yeah, this is one of Asus's upper laptops, especially for the ultra books, the slim ones. 8 gigs of RAM, 512 gig SSD. Has a full-size keyboard with a numpad at the bottom on the trackpad. So that's the one caveat. They say it's a full-size keyboard, but they've kind of relocated the numbers down there onto the trackpad, so you still have that. But it's a great deal. 26% off, $716.97. Anybody in the search for a nice ultra portable laptop, this could be something that you could take a look at, especially for productivity.
Pretty slim too. I'm looking at it.
Yep.
I know call it ultra slim, but I was just looking at how slim it actually is.
Yeah, it's pretty slim if you look at that side profile.
Yeah. Like the MacBook Air kind of thickness, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's in that MacBook Air type of category for portability. All right, the next one that we have here is brought to us by Mike, and Mike already did update the link in the description for us. I provided that to him today, and he went ahead and updated it. That is our affiliate link if anyone wants to use this. He says this is the only mouse that he recommends. I've heard tons of people recommend the MX Master 3. Sinoop, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it or not.
For gaming?
No, just for gaming, just all around general use mouse and productivity.
I've got an MX, not 3, but I'm using one right now at the desk here, an MX version.
I have heard nothing but good things about them.
Oh, they're great.
From everybody.
They're very comfortable, curved with your hand. I can't say enough about them either. Mind you, they have a few extra buttons that I don't use. Yeah. But, because I'm a creature of habit when I use my mouse, like there's just certain buttons I just don't use. But I like, and I'm sure they still have that with the 3, where you can change, where you can lock in where the scroll button has like the click, so you can kind of do the fine, or you can take that off, and then it's
yes, it still
free.
has that.
Yep.
Yep. But this is a massive discount. It's 36% off. You can get this mouse right now for $69.99.
That is a good deal.
But do you have to use Logitech software?
No,
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 I can
just
put it into
Windows
a Mac
drivers.
and it'll pick it up, or
Windows
whatever.
drivers are just on the Mac. Yep.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I'm so used to the Magic Mouse. I look at these
Oh, we
mice.
got to get them away from it.
I know.
Yeah, but I've
69
tried.
bucks. Go ahead and get this.
Yeah,
right
but
now.
I've tried, and it's just like I don't like I just don't like how they feel as much. Like in the
That's all
side, the
preference,
scrolling
though.
stuff.
If you-
I don't know.
if you're happy with what you
I've
got, right?
I've not
Yeah.
used a wheel in God knows how long.
I could never get used to the touch.
I don't know.
Like, I mean, I can get by with it, but I don't.
Yeah, it's weird.
I
It's
like something that's more
trackpad
curved
on the
too,
top of
like
your mouse.
where I'm resting my hand, and it's in the ball of my hand too. Like
Mhm.
I guess I don't. I've never had any issues with it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll look at it. Maybe here's the thing. Like I said, if the only thing that will sell me is if I mean, my cursor tracks, right, and I'm running at 144 hertz on my screen. And so I don't think I'm going to get. It'll be a law of diminishing returns for me. That's my feeling.
Why would you think that?
Because I'm not sure. What am I gaining? I don't. There's no. I'm gaining a wheel. That's it. Like, or I don't know why it would be better than what it was that I've been using. Right.
Fair enough. Sure.
So the scrolling, you need the drivers. Otherwise, smooth scrolling is a problem, at least in my Mac. Yeah, see, that's a problem. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to install Logitech drivers on my Mac. Not going to happen. Good hardware, but I've never had anything but headaches with their software. So that's not going to happen.
Well, we tried, seeing it.
Yep,
Sorry.
it's
Just
all
an A
good.
for effort.
Good try. Nice try.
It's all down to preference, right?
Yep.
Right.
Use what you like.
Absolutely. So
Except
the
for
next one, except
You had to
for
get the
that,
last word in.
had to. All right, and the next thing that I've got on the list is another Logitech product that Chris won't use because it requires drivers and software. It's the GX52 Professional HOTUS Flight Control System. Is this the one that you have seen it? Because I covered one previously. This is different.
Nope, I don't have that one. Mine is I think it's the X56 or something like that.
Okay. Because this one's a little different. It's got an LCD screen over on the yoke.
Interesting. Mine
But
doesn't
this
have
one
that.
is 25% off right now. Putting it at $171.99. Normally it is $229.99. So if you're looking to get into flight simulation or just flight games in general, whether it be, aviation or,
Squadrons.
No Man's Sky, Squadrons, Star Citizen, whatever, that could be something. Elite Dangerous, any of those flying games. This could be something that you could get into the game with for sure. And it looks like it's got a lot of upgradability by all the add-ons that you can get with foot pedals and switches. And so
I assume this one probably has the same as mine too, because I think Logitech just does that with most of their. This is one that's more in their upper category of, like, they have like the cheaper ones that are good too, but these ones get into where you can actually go in and change the spring, so you can tailor how much friction you want on your stick as well.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Thrustmaster does something similar to that too for their racing wheels and like the pedal sets. I could adjust the spring on there to give more, like on the brake pedal, give it more of a pressure feel. So I would imagine so. I don't know for certain, but if it seems to be one of their upper tiers, I would imagine,
Wouldn't go wrong with it.
I mean, I'll take your word for it. I've not used it, but as someone that's got Logitech, then I'd trust your advice on it for sure.
And I iterated before that it hasn't been that recent, but fairly recent, that their Logitech support's still pretty good as far as replacements and help and that kind of thing as well. So that's important to some people, right? Like you run into problems and you have to send in an email or something and it goes on deaf ears. That's not a good thing, right? So, or if there just happens to be something defective with the product and you have a, they sent me a new one out right away. So with the speakers that I had.
That's the last one.
Fantastic. Good roundup there. Logitech dominated, apparently.
It did.
So, hey, when things are on sale, they're on sale. Can't avoid that. I mean, you can. I mean, hey, you want to spend full money on you spend all your money, man. I'm just saying, when you need something, it's always good to get a deal. And if you use our affiliate links, at least with Amazon, we will get the credit. That does add up, not like copious amounts, nothing to retire on, but it does help, especially when we're able to make the leads for you. And expect more of that, like I said, coming down the pike, as I'm hoping to sign up for another service that'll make it easier for us to link off to like Target and Walmart and eBay, Newegg, and beyond. So it keeps Chris in minifigs. I guess I do have a couple of minifigs I got to open. And Disney announced the Disney 100 minifigure series that has 18 Disney minifigures, including Coco has a couple of Dia de los Muertos figures in there. That was kind of neat. Pinocchio is going to be a part of that range. Some of the characters I'm not as familiar with, but I'm very happy that Disney and Lego are hand in hand. Oswald is coming as well. That's something to look forward to. But yeah, I'll be getting those minifigures. You can set your watch to, hey, there's a new Garbage Pail Kid release, Star Wars Vintage Collection, or Lego minifigures, and I'm in. Sign me up. I'm there. And thank you for being here, everybody. We do this every night, right around 7 p.m. Pacific. Tomorrow, again, we're going to be giving away a $100 gift card, right around 7:30 Pacific, and that's a loosey-goosey time because we're aiming to be home. I'm hoping we'll be home by then, giving us a little bit of latitude for something. But one of you hopefully will get a $100 Visa card tomorrow. Hopefully one of you will be here. Of course, I hope you're here anyway. I hope you tune in, not just when we're doing TLDR, but it's here 24/7. In the morning, I do IRL. Like my mount was supposed to arrive today, and I think it said last I saw here. Now arriving by 10 p.m. and it's not 10 p.m. and where it would be dropped off is closed. So I don't know if it's ever getting here. Honestly, I'm about ready to give up on it because it's absolutely maddening to me that. No, you're going to bed. All right. Well, what happened to the Mandalorian? We were supposed to watch the Mandalorian.
Well, I have a test tomorrow.
You have a test tomorrow?
Yeah.
About what? Did you study?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'll probably know everything.
Okay, good. Glad you know everything. All right, bye. Love you. So, and I love you and appreciate you. And at this point, I'm going to leave you to your own devices. May the force be with you always. Oh yeah, the gimbal would be nice, Hugo. Except I need a car mount, by and large. Goosey, like an Intel measurement. I know nothing. I'm no longer going to be there after. Well, at least for now. I'd love to go back. So I'd love to keep that door open. We are typically talking tech, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and playing games at live.pirillo.com. We'll see you later.